Hi, this is Glaive, and if you're following my channel, you will know that I am a hardcore World of Warcraft healer. I play Priest. I am a Night Elf on Defias Pillager and a Dwarf on Doomhowl. Part of a guild called Petri on God. We've had multiple immortal kills of Naxxramas, and on Doomhowl we are doing speedruns. And I've been pushing a lot of content to help priests with better their healing. I find that most of the information online and discussions is always about which gear piece is the best upgrade, and a lot of theory crafting, when in my honest opinion, classic healing is not about gear. It's more about knowing the mechanics, having the right indicators visible to you at all times so that you can make the best informed decisions when it comes to healing and work with your team. So I had a question in my last video about GRID2 and what my indicators are, so this video is about reviewing the indicators that I've set myself up to see in Grid. So let's open up GRID2 and let's look over the indicators. So let's start with tooltip. That's nothing important. Alpha, this is the text when you're out of range, death offline, not important. The border, so an unbuffed Glaive Storm looks like this in the raid frame, and I reserve the border of the frame for buffs that I want to track. So we've got Power Infusion. Power Infusion will appear orange. Let me just PI myself. The orange border will appear while a target is PI'd, so I can track raid or party members that are currently under the effect of Power Infusion. I use the same color coding for Arcane Power, so for mages that are respected to Arcane Power, it will also be an orange border, so that I don't try to PI them during an Arcane Power, as they do not stack. Next there's Inspiration. Inspiration is the buff that priests will give a target if they land a crit heal. So let me see if I can proc a heal here. That crits. There you go. So Inspiration gives me 25% more armor, and that's shown with a blue border temporarily on the frame. Next I have Abolish Disease. So if I hit Abolish Disease on the target, just like that, you'll have a green border across around the raid frame, which I have set to turn yellow on the final tick. So this attempts to dispel one disease every 5 seconds, so at 5 seconds it will be the final tick, and it turns yellow, so I know that it's about to fall off. Next I track Prayer, Fortitude, and the HP buff, right? So in a raid environment, I want to make sure to track who's got Powered Fortitude. I can clearly see that with this white border. And that's the border statuses that I have. So PI, Abolish Poison, Inspiration, and Powered Fortitude. Next, we have heals. So incoming heals are showcased in the back. So I actually don't display my own predictive healing for 2 reasons. Because if I'm in the middle of a cast and I would see my own predictive healing, say, Flash Heal says it's going to predict 800 heals, it would be green, right, in the background. But then if another party member starts to cast after me, I would not see their incoming cast because mine would be there first. So I'd rather have visibility of other people casting on the same target as I am, because I know roughly what my heals heal for, whether I use Flash Heal rank 1, 5, 7, or Heal 2, or Greater Heal 1. Once you've played this game long enough, you kind of know by heart what your heals are healing for, so I don't like to see my own incoming healing. So for heals here in Grid, I have it to not include my own heals to show as predictive. Next. So I've got the mana bar for casters. I don't display Rogue Energy or Warrior Rage. I don't find that very valuable to track on my raid frame, so I only look at mana bars. Bottom text is player name, so player name will appear as a bottom text in grid, so that's fine. The top text will be defensives, so any defensives that classes have that I can think of I have enabled here. So we've got Barkskin for druids, so if they were to use Barkskin, it would just say Barkskin as text here at the top. Mage using Evocate or Ice Block, a rogue using Evasion, a target that was bopped by a paladin, it would say BOP, bop. Warrior that pops Shield Wall, it would say Shield Wall. And the reason I track these defensives is that I can clearly see who's using a defensive, and you know, they're probably in a safe spot. They're not the priority heal target in a raid situation with a lot of damage going out. Barkskin I like to see because then I know the druid is immune to pushback in case he's out there using what is that nature spell? Thunder, lightning? I can't remember, but you know what I mean. Evocation, you know, I like to see when mages are evocating, so I can toss them a shield if needed to avoid any pushback and losing those ticks. Ice Block, of course, they're immune. Rogues who are evasioned are less likely to take physical damage if they have direct threat, so they're pretty safe. And Shield Wall, of course, for the tanks. Alright, let's go to the corner indicators. So we've got bottom left, which is right here. So in the bottom left corner, I display a red square if the target has a debuff that affects its incoming healing. So Mortal Wound, Veil of Shadows, Mortal Strikes. So these are the three abilities that, if applied to a target, they will have a healing debuff, like a healing reduction on them by like 50 to 70%. So this is a great time as a priest to throw out a powered shield. You know, it counters that ability pretty well. You get the full shield out of it, and no reduction, and it's an instant heal. So usually like a 5-man dungeon or in a raid situation, if I see a target take health, take damage, and a red square appear in the bottom left, that's my cue to instantly powered shield that target. Most likely, that's my next global. The bottom right indicator I reserve for curses and poisons. So I'm not too concerned with the curse or the poison. I mean, if it's a curse that reduces casting time, it's okay. I don't really need to know that. I mean, poisons as well. So I just color code them. Purple are curses, so they're displayed purple, purple box, and poisons would be a green box. So this would give me information if a target is cursed or poisoned, and you know, can act accordingly. The poison target might take extra damage, or just want to be aware of the poisons on my target. So that's what the bottom right corner is reserved for. Next indicator, the top left. So up here is reserved for threat. So there are 3 levels of threat. Red means the target has full threat, so securely tanking. So this would pop up red in the corner if a tank has direct threat, if a mage pulls threat, a rogue pulls threat, I pull threat. You know, whoever has direct threat will have a red box here in the top left corner. Now, targets might get a white or a light blue box in the top left corner, meaning they're approaching threat. You know, they're like top 2, top 3. So this would be a good indicator to watch for, because say you're in a 5-man situation, securely tanking a target with your tank, and the rogue decides to go ham, overtake the tank. You can anticipate the aggro pull before the aggro pull even happens. Throw the rogue a powered shield, for example, and then just below that rogue's mind, saying, how did you shield me before I pulled threat? You absorbed any incoming damage that I could have taken, and you know, you look like a hero. So by watching the threat indicators directly on your raid frame, you can make decisions on targets that are about to pull threat or have direct threat. Next is the top right corner. Top right corner over here I reserve for heal over time. So I have green boxes for renews, and I have it set to a bright green if it's my own renew. If it's not my renew but another player in my raid, I just track it with a different shade of green. I have it set to this darker green here so that I can track that if it's mine or another player's. So this helps me not overwrite other player renews. It also helps me see if my renews are being overwritten, right? It's like a coaching opportunity. If there's two targets, two DPS targets in a raid that have a renew on them already, why are we overriding those renews? It's a waste of a global, right? So that's why I have it set to 2 different colors so I can monitor that. Next indicator, we've got the side bottom. So side bottom is the fear ward. So if I apply fear, I don't have fear ward on my night elf, but it's a little box here. It's right in the middle. It would be a little white box. I'll show you this in action later down the road. So to track fear ward on targets, this is the indicator that I use. And we've got the center box, so anything that's dispellable by a priest will appear in the middle. So we've got diseases, right? So if a disease is on a target, you can see the icon of that disease. You can dispel. You can use abolish disease, or what is that spell called? I'm so bad with names. I'm so sorry, guys. Abolish disease, yep. And I've got magic, right? So anything that can be dispelled, you'll see the icon in the middle, so you can quickly dispel that. Oops. I accidentally removed it. There you go. So any magic can be removed. I track puncture. This is in LBRS. It's a stacking ability that reduces armor, so I like to see that in LBRS, so I've added puncture. And then I've got invulnerability buffs as well that I want to prio see. So if a target uses a flask of petrification or a limited invulnerability potion, I'll see the invulnerabilities as an icon in the middle of the raid frame. So really good information. And most raid debuffs are here. It's like a package in grid. So depending on the raid, right, you can select Blackwing Lair, Nexramis, Molten Core. The indicators that I kind of want to really look out for, I've kind of kept enabled, and I've disabled a lot of them. Like, I don't really care about most of this stuff. It's already a magic or a disease that'll pop up anyways, so you can quickly review what Grid has as default and enable, disable to your preference. So that's what the raid debuffs are. And so that's icon. Now icon left, that's over here, so that I track weakened soul. So as a priest, there's 2 very important buffs that you want to quickly see, and that's your powered shield and your weakened soul. So with this setup, I can easily track who's got a shield currently active and if weakened soul is still on the target or not, so that once the shield has expired, I'm not spamming powered shield on the target with no result, right? If I see this image here, I know that I cannot resort to a shield. And there's plenty of other videos on my channel that showcase how you can track your shield usage with mages, for example, or with rogues, and just if they pull threat, right? You've got a red box in the top right corner. They might be taking damage, so you can just start queuing up heals, cancel casting if the shield is holding, and then once the shield breaks and damage goes through, you can let that heal land, and then reapply a new shield if that DPS target is still taking damage, and then go back to spamming some quick heals on those types of situations, right? So that's what the left and the right icons are. So that's it in a nutshell. So I'll cut the voice from here and transition to some gameplay footage, I guess, to showcase this in action. Okay, so for part 2, I guess it makes sense to review some gameplay footage just to see those indicators live. So I'm going to pull up a video I posted a month ago. It was a speed run of BWL. We did 25:59, so I showcased some highlights there. So let's pull up some of that gameplay footage and let's see if we can identify those indicators. So look, I'll take freeze frames of the footage and we'll kind of review it. So in this frame here, we can see that the border is white which we said was powered fortitude. So the whole raid is forted, which is great. We've got the green boxes in the top right corner. They are darker green, so those are other priest renews, not mine. We've got direct threat indicators, so Garen's and Thought having direct threat in this screenshot, with Ryuja about to pull threat on a mob with the white indicator here. And we've got one target with a magic debuff polymorph that can be dispelled here. So that's what we're seeing on this frame. And we also have a shield ice barrier on Jerbears. So shields are tracked to the right indicator. There's no other, and then there's powered shield here on easy with weakened soul here on the left. So we'll move the video up a little bit. In this frame here, we've got rejuvenation, so the hots, right, take the top right corner. So we've got a rejuve. We've got a weakened soul here on little pumps, and you've got a shield with weakened soul. We've got Garen's with heals incoming, Rashala incoming. This is the predictive healing of other healers. We've got Pound Cake here with no incoming heals, no hots, no shields. Does not have direct threat though, so it's, unless it's a cleave mechanic or AoE damage, he's still pretty safe. But I would say, looking at this screenshot, we've got Zamplug, who's got direct threat from Razor Gore himself. So Pound Cake could probably use some attention here. So let's see where my mouse hovers over to. There we go. Right, it went right over to Pound Cake, who got shielded and healed instantly, and back to these targets here. All right, let's pull another random frame here with some action. Let's see if we can grab some other indicators that we haven't seen. So in this freeze frame, we've got two new indicators. We've got the bottom left corner. We talked about in part one that this is the Mortal Strike or reduced healing debuff. So Runic right now, being the main tanking Broodlord Lashslayer, just got hit by a Mortal Strike. So he's down 4.5k health with a Mortal Strike. And we've got Ryuja, a mage, who received a Blessing of Protection, or BOP. So looking at this freeze frame, we've got some rejuvenation, some renews. We've got direct threat on a mage, probably due to some whelps, and we've got Runic taking the boss. So probably going to see a powered shield in the next second here. There we go. Powered shield we talked about is a great counter to a Mortal Strike, so that you get full healing effect of that shield, pretty much effective, and it's the best way to counter a Mortal Strike, and then Weakened Soul can take away. And now that the main tank, it has plenty of incoming heals with a shield and a heal over time, probably safe to say that the next targets that are priority are the mages here, AoEing some whelps. So we've got direct threat on Jerbears and Zalmagus. Ryuja is bopped, so completely safe from physical damage. So my guess is my mouse cursor is going to come to the right here to give some mages some love. So let's see what happens here. So we got Jerbears putting on a ice barrier, so he's safe. So my guess is I'm going to go to Zalmagus. And yeah, see, I hovered over there, but Zalmagus didn't end up taking any damage, lost direct threat, so safe now. So which is why my mouse kind of went back to the middle of the screen to assist either the main tank or sensor. So now I'm back on the main tank, and oh, here we go, another blast wave hitting the whole raid. So like, this is not mortal damage. It's not like there's direct threat or another cleave mechanic that's gonna threaten them, but they do need to be healed up. So how many healers do we have in this raid? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 9 or 10 healers. So let's see who picks who to heal. If everyone's watching predictive healing correctly, we should not be healing. It should be pretty much everybody should be getting a heal in the next 2 seconds here. So 1, 2, 3. So there we go. 3 seconds after the blast wave, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players being cast on by healers, which is what you want to see in a raid. That means that people are picking a target based on who's receiving heals and who's in direct, who needs it the most. So as you can see, my mouse is hovering over Little Jake to land a flash heal. You don't see my predictive healing because I mentioned in part 1 that I disable it. Other players can see my own predictive healing. I just don't see it. But I know this greater heal here is coming on Little Jake. So now while that's being queued and landing, I'm trying to pick my next target. So you see that I hover over nice one, but got the predictive healing before my greater heal went off, so I immediately go to Lewin War, and that's where my next greater heal is going off. And then while that's landing, I'm looking for my next target. So that was really well done by the raid there. In less than like 4 seconds, all that damage was healed up nicely. So props to the healers on that blast wave there. All right, let's try to find some new indicators that we have not seen. Looking maybe for a PI. Gonna let it play for a little bit here. So there's really nothing on the screen that we haven't discussed. You've got your shields, your weakened soul, your direct threat indicators, and your HOTS, plus your predictive healing. Okay, so here's a PI request. So when a PI request goes out, that means the PI is going to be sent. There's the PI, it's sent, and then there's the orange border. So there's another indicator we haven't seen. We talked about inspiration being the blue border. So, if you want to track your tanks for fishing inspiration pre-pull or during battle, you can monitor inspiration with the blue border and arcane power and power infusion with the orange border. We talked about curses and poisons. So priests cannot remove poisons and curses, but you do want to see if they're affected by them. So on Chromagus, you can see that he puts out curses that I cannot dispel, but I can see who's affected by a curse, which is the purple box here in the bottom right. And if it was a poison, it would be green. So like in AQ, for example, or in the strat, in the undead dungeons, anything that poisons, you can keep track of, and anything dispellable or abolishable will pull up here. So you can see there's 2 magic debuffs here that you can dispel, and there's 2 poison diseases that can be abolished here on the pets. And we talked about Fear Ward on my Night Elf. I could not demonstrate it in this case here. Before Nefarian, we can see the whole raid is Fear Warded, except for Vex here. So the indicator for Fear Ward is this little white square under the nameplate. So in this raid situation at this time, we got Chumpies and Vex and Nutshell who are not Fear Warded, and so you can make a decision on who needs a Fear Ward. So I believe I end up sending Nutshell a Fear Ward here shortly before a Bellowing Roar. Healers are usually not at max range sometimes, so let's see what I do. Just spamming the tank here. That was a good Shadow Flame, right? Like anytime there's predictive spike damage, like we saw in Nefarian here, so you definitely, Shadow Flame incoming in 2 seconds. Here's the cast. Let's see if we get, we don't get the shield off because Weakened Soul was there. It was applied after, so it's a little error on the healer part here. In hardcore, you definitely want to put the shield before the spike damage because the goal is to prevent the health bar from going to 0, right? So here's Shadow Flame coming in 2 seconds. There's a shield up, so that's going to help absorb some of that spike damage to make sure that the main tank will be flooded with heals after surviving the spike damage. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, okay, here I think, look, that's where I hit Nutshell with a Fear Ward, gives him the little ticker there, and then immediately after that there's a Bellowing Roar that goes out, and oh, look at that, all the Fear Wards are gone, including Nutshells, so got that Fear Ward in time so that our Paladin wasn't running around frantically. So that covers most of the indicators. I can share my profiles very easily. And just export them. You can play around with them. I think GRID2 is fantastic. There's plenty of other videos on my channel that showcase some live action play for mages, dungeons, whether it's leveling in Scarlet Monasteries, Zul'Farrak, 5-man level 60 dungeons, LBRS, strat, and then of course some raiding content. So if you watch that footage and now that you have a clear idea of the indicators, you could follow along my gameplay and the decisions that I make, and see, you know, why it looks so easy, right? The indicators are crucial to your decision making. So I hope this video helps. Drop me a like, write a comment, and let me know if you like this type of video. It's my first video on this channel with actually using my voice. Most of the time I just narrate or comment using the text on screen. So let me know if you like this format. I'll see you around. Glaive Storm signing out.